Hi everyone, welcome back to Novel Nomad and welcome to my May TBR. This is one part, so part one of my May TBR, and it is my TBR for the Quarantine-athon. Now April over at Getting Hooker with it. This is her original readathon and it comes with 4 prompts which I think were brilliant because I want to keep the reading inspiration up because I'm obviously having a wonderful time reading, but I wanted to get this on video. So Quarantine-athon will run from the 3rd to the 30th of May and that gives you exactly 4 weeks to read some wonderful books. There are 4 different prompts and I'm going to go through each prompt and the book I've decided to read for that prompt. So prompt 1, week 1 is read a book that faces some hard times and it kind of gives us the hope that we will get through this. Everyone is in this challenging time together. So this one I think I've chosen quite an interesting choice because from all reports, the characters go through some incredibly hard times. And no, I'm not talking about Dickens. I'm talking about The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I do love a good Steinbeck, but I have been so nervous to start this one. Mainly because it goes through the Great Depression in America in the 1920s and 30s. And it's really hard for a lot of people and horrible things happen. And I think if I can get through this book and survive, it's going to be wonderful inspiration to get through the rest of this pandemic that we're all going through right now. So this is definitely my choice for week 1. I think I've really challenged myself with this selection. If you have read this book, please tell me your thoughts. Because I probably will need some cheerleading and wonderful inspiration to not feel so nervous when picking this one up. Prompt 2, and for week 2, is to read a book with a main character who would be at risk for coronavirus. Now I've got 2 options for this one. I'm not 100% sure which one I want to go with yet. Mainly because one of them I've half read before, so I felt like a little bit of a cop-out. But I want to finish The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce. I got halfway through this book. But it was a little bit too close and emotional to my current state at the time. My grandpa had just passed away and I was very upset about it, and Harold reminded me so much of my grandpa that it was a little bit too close. And it wasn't that comfort read. So yeah, I want to finish this, and obviously this is about not only Harold but his best friend Queenie, who's currently in a hospice. People in the elderly community seem to be the ones who are most at risk from this at the time. They're the highest rate of mortality in most countries. So definitely elderly people and people in hospices and who have compromised immune systems. The other option is Butterfly Yellow by Thana Lai. Sorry if I didn't say that right. But Butterfly Yellow is at the end of the Vietnam War, and it's about a young girl who's a refugee, and she is technically adopted by a family who also adopted her brother, but it's 6 years after. So she's not only a refugee, she's a young child who's been adopted into a family and fostered there. And I think refugees are also highly at risk at this time. There's not enough coverage, I think, at the moment, or what can be done to help refugees in this time, because many of them are displaced, many of them do not have stable home lives, and therefore they can't self-isolate like many of our community. So this one definitely was very high on my list, and I think I might try and read both for week 2. We'll see how I go. Prompt 3 and week 3 is to read a book with a main character who is an essential worker, just to share our love. And I thought Convenience Store Woman was quite a good selection, because let's face it, if it wasn't for the people at the convenience stores, supermarkets, everywhere where we can try and get our food and necessary items, and that they're still going, taking the bus, getting to work, they're still going to work for our convenience, that is definitely commendable. And I think it's all high stress time at the moment, but the fact that recently in Australia we had to have an ad requesting people not to scream or yell or abuse convenience store workers, that's just a little bit too much if they actually have to put out a national ad to remind people to treat others like human, even if it is an incredibly stressful time. So I definitely want to say thank you to everyone who works within those positions because they've not had a break. Prompt 4 and week 4 is to read a book featuring something that you miss from normal life so you can live vicariously through it. And I thought long and hard, and I was going to try and do a showbiz one if I can, because I would love to go to a theatre show right now. I've been watching as much theatre and arts as I can, but I didn't want to support as many people in that community as I can at the time. But I really absolutely positively miss just meeting up with friends and talking about books. I know we can still do it through social media and things, but just like that physical connection and just seeing everyone's faces animatedly chat and sharing different things, it's just so much wonderful to do that in person. And I have 3 book clubs, so I am definitely missing everyone, even though we're still doing virtually. So for that book I chose the Guernsey Literary Potato Peel Pie Society. So I haven't read this one yet, but I've very much wanted to, and I know it's post World War II, so many people are recovering from quite a traumatic event, but they recount their times as being part of a literary and group that came together to share food, share ideas and share their love of literature during a very horrific time when on the Isle of Guernsey they were occupied by the Germans. So yeah, I really want to read this. It's very much, I think, is about connection, and I just can't wait to get together with everyone again and chat, wonderful bookish chat, and go out to amazing cafes and just see all my wonderful friends. It's just something that I definitely am missing. Alright, so that was my very reasonable TBR for Quarantine-athon. I'm quite excited, although I think the only one I'm absolutely petrified about is the Grapes of Wrath, because I think everyone feels a little bit like this at the current time. But I am going to really strive through that one in the first week. I'm going to try and smash it out straight away. So let me know if you're participating or if you have any possible suggestions for any of the prompts. I would love to hear that. I'll link all of April's videos down below. She's got recommendations out as well. I won't be doing recommendations for this one because I've got so many books on my May TBR. I will be doing another TBR video later in the week. So I'll see you then. Bye!